down, never. Like a theme in a song, clever. Feeling high, feeling low at the same time. Feels so right, then I'm wrong, hoping I'll be fine. But I get up, I always do. I never think, I always do. Never thought I wouldn't jump, oh what a fool. But if I fall, I will get up again.
Hey guys, Harsh here and welcome back to Technolobe. I just love making camera reviews. I've done a couple of them in the past, that is the 1300D and also the 200D. And today I'm back with a camera review. So today let's talk about the Canon M50. Now if you've been following the channel for a while, then you might know that I bought the Canon M50 for a daily use of my YouTube channel. Now before you go out there and just smash on your keyboard saying that why did you buy the M50, it's not a great camera, are you out of your mind and all those things, I'm just gonna say watch this video till the end and your opinion about the M50 might just change because this camera is not as bad as it seems. It's actually a pretty good camera for my use and that's why I bought it. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into my review. So first up, let's talk about the sensor present on the Canon M50. So the Canon M50 comes with a 24.3 megapixel sensor. It is an APS-C size sensor, that means it is not full frame, but come on, at this price point you cannot expect full frame. And it also comes with the Canon Digic 8 image processor. So the Digic 8 image processor is the latest processor by Canon, and let me tell you, it is very good in terms of color science and also in terms of 4K. Yeah, we'll get to 4K in a bit, but for now just remember that 4K coming out of this camera is actually pretty good. Now, as always, let's divide this review into two parts. One is photography and the other is videography. Let's start with photography. So for photos, this camera is awesome. It's a high resolution camera and the best part about this camera is its low light performance. So if you push the ISO up to like 1000 or 1200 or maybe more than that, then also you will get really good results. I got some really good results even at 6400 ISO, which is kind of crazy because I'm coming from a Canon 200D which doesn't perform that well when it comes to photos in terms of low lighting conditions. So yeah, as far as low lighting conditions go, this camera performs really well. Also in other conditions, this camera performs excellent. Like you can click some really good photos with the help of the Canon M50. And it's also a mirrorless camera, so the overall form factor of the camera is very small and you can carry it around easily. So if you're looking for a good travel camera to click some great pictures, then Canon M50 is definitely one of your top choices because of its small form factor and the quality that it offers. Now the cherry on the cake over here is Canon's color science. So you don't need to edit the colors as much in post-production because the colors are very natural, true to life, and even the dynamic range is excellent. So yeah, as far as photography goes with the Canon M50, you're not going to have many issues, and in fact you might just get surprised with the quality coming out of this camera. I have been clicking a lot of photos and you can see in the sample images that this camera performs really well. So if you want to buy this camera for photography, it's a big thumbs up from my side. Now let's get to the more controversial part of this review, and that is video shooting. So Canon has been known for not offering 4K on their cameras for the longest time because the competition out there like the Sony a6300 and a6500 have 4K up to 60 FPS and Canon does not even offer 4K like in the Canon 200D and some other cameras. Now luckily the Canon M50 does come with 4K, but there's a catch. So this camera can shoot 4K at 24 frames per second maximum, that is 23.98 frames per second, and it is cropped. So it is not the full size 4K. Like, this sensor is already 1.6 times cropped, and then the 4K is further cropped, so you're gonna get a very cropped image out of the 4K. So yeah, that's kind of a letdown. But the silver lining over here is that the 4K is actually pretty good. The quality is very high, and I have to say that I was surprised by the amount of sharpness and the dynamic range that you can get out of this 4K. And also you can shoot 4K time lapses, which is just awesome. Like, the 4K time lapses look really good coming out of this camera. Now obviously you cannot use 4K while vlogging because it crops in too much, and you just lose a lot of frame. So if you want to buy a vlogging 4K camera, then I would not recommend this camera because it does crop in a lot. But on the other hand, if you want to maybe do product shoots or some other kind of shoots with 4K, then yeah, you can definitely consider this camera because the quality of the 4K is very good. Now I've done an entire video shot on the Canon M50 in full 4K, and I have uploaded that video to YouTube itself. So in case you missed that video, I'll drop a link to it in the I button over here and also in the description box below. So I highly recommend you to go ahead and watch that video, and you will get to know about the quality of the 4K coming out of this camera. Now, other than 4K, you can shoot at 1080p up to 60 FPS, and let me tell you that 1080p on this camera is incredible. The 60 FPS slow motion is awesome. I wish that it had 120 FPS, but yeah, that's okay. I can make my way with 60 FPS, and it works really well. Now recently I traveled to Thailand, and I shot all the footage of Thailand with the Canon M50. So in case you missed those vlogs as well, again, I button, link in the description. Go for yourself and see the B-roll, and you will be surprised. Also, the intro of this video was shot entirely on the Canon M50. So you guys might know that the slow motion and the overall 1080p coming out of this camera is actually very good. And if that was not sufficient, right now I'm shooting this part as well with the Canon M50, so you might get to know the quality of this camera. So overall, I would say that the Canon M50 is actually pretty good. It also has a flip out LCD screen, which is like the best feature of Canon, the flip out LCD screen. So you can see yourself while you're shooting, you can see the frame, you can set the frame properly, and that's a very handy feature, and a lot of people should appreciate it because some other cameras like the Sony cameras don't have a flip out screen. So yeah, I give it a big thumbs up from my side. Also, Canon's autofocus is the best in the market. Like, it has no competition, and the autofocus on the M50 works really well. Like, you can blindly trust on it that it will keep you in focus at all times. Now, one sad thing over here is that the autofocus does not work with 4K. So while you're shooting in 4K, it has something called as eye autofocus or something like that, which is not that great, by the way. So if you want to shoot 4K on this camera, I would suggest manual focus because that's the best way to go. But on 1080p, the autofocus works incredibly well. Okay, now let's talk about the lens options available with the Canon M50. So this camera comes with an EF-M lens mount, which is the Canon's mirrorless range, and you get a lot of options in the mirrorless range itself. But if you want to use your normal EF lenses, then there is an adapter which you can buy. There is a first party adapter by Canon itself, and you can also buy third party adapters. Now I own a third party adapter which cost me only $50, which is not much to pay, and then you can use all your EF lenses with this camera, and they work really well. The autofocus works and everything works as well. So yeah, you have a lot of lens options, and that's one of the reasons why I bought this camera. Now moving forward, let's talk about a couple of things that I don't like about this camera, and number one is the absence of a log profile. So there is no log profile whatsoever, and that affects the dynamic range a lot. Like, if there was a log profile, then you could get a lot out of this camera, and the Digic 8 image processor does support log profile, so I don't know why Canon did not do that, so that's kind of a letdown. Also, one more letdown with this camera is battery life. Like, the battery life on this camera is not good at all. It will last you for lesser time than you expect it to last. It's a very small battery, so if you want to buy this camera, then please consider buying extra battery packs as well. Like, I'm gonna do that. And while I was in Thailand a couple of days ago, like, I was shooting, I was vlogging, and the camera just died, and I did not have extra batteries, so that did affect my vlog. That's why I'm telling, if you want to buy this camera, please consider buying extra battery packs as well. So overall, to sum it all up, I would say that the Canon M50 is good for a particular set of people only. I'm repeating this, it's not good for everyone, it's good for a particular set of people. People who like Canon's color science, people who like Canon's autofocus, people who like the flip out LCD screen, and people who like Canon lenses. So basically people like me who like all these things that I mentioned, they can definitely go ahead and buy the Canon M50 and it won't disappoint you at all. Now I know that there are some better options out there if you spend some extra money, like the Sony a6300 and also the a6500. Those cameras are actually better for videography. But there's something about Canon's overall image processing that keeps me attached to it. I'm gonna stick with this camera for at least a year now. I'm gonna use it extensively on my YouTube channel. So if this review was not sufficient for you, you can just follow all my videos like henceforth, and they're gonna be with the Canon M50, so you can get a pretty good idea about this camera. So anyway, that's been it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that this review helped you out in some way or the other. Please hit the subscribe button below, it would mean the world to me. And also, if you like this content, hit that like button. If you have any more doubts or queries, then feel free to ask them in the comments below, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'll definitely help you solve your query. My name is Harsh Punjabi, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I'm alone, I'm a broken home. I gave you all the bricks that I own and know. I'm letting go, I'm breaking these walls down, breaking these walls down. If you want adventure, then fly to home. But if you wanna travel, then go alone. Yeah, what's the point in us if I never know if you're gonna